Ho, ho, ho. And we are live, everyone. Welcome to our 12 Days of Christmas webinar event brought to you by Office Dynamics International. Thanks for introducing yourself in our chat. This webinar series has been such great fun. And if you have been with us throughout the previous webinars, you know that it has been lively and it has been festive. We are reviewing the chat every single day because it really does move at breakneck speed during the live events, just as it's doing right now. And Joan really was looking through the chats yesterday and asked me to answer a few important questions that we received during our previous webinars. So these are pretty serious questions, like this one. On the Christmas sweater that Jasmine wore, were those lights or sequins on the sweater? And the day that Joan and I did the question and answer webinar and I had on my Rudolph sweater, those were in fact Blinky lights. So there's your answer on that.
Blink, blink.
The other question was, where did Jasmine get those glasses? So I got these glasses from Target. They had a package deal. It was a 12-piece holiday photo prop package. I'm not getting sponsors from Target or anything like that. It's just answering your questions. And it is a photo prop bag for $5 at Target. And I'll share that in the blog link after the webinar in case anybody's interested in getting those glasses for themselves. And finally, another question was, what is the snowman made on that's on the chair behind Jasmine? So this snowman right here is actually a hat. So that is, and I think I found that at Walgreens for one of the kids' Christmas events one year and just brought it in because it was fun. So anyhow, there's the answers to those questions for you. We have a really fun contest today, and you may notice behind Joan is a new friend that's joined her in her office. We would like your help naming her. She is a dainty dancing reindeer who graces the front office of our lobby in Office Dynamics with her presence. You have until the end of the webinar to submit your name ideas for her in the chat. We'll announce our favorite tomorrow, and that person will be winning a special prize. So on a serious note, we do want to share a message that we received this morning from one of our giveaway winners from one of our previous webinars in this series. So let's see here. We happily, I heard my name was spoken during the webinar as a giveaway winner, and I wanted to happily tell everyone in my department, but there wasn't another soul in the office. So I phoned another staff person and I had to tell someone. Could you please pass on to Joan and Jasmine that this morning I was told that I received a raise. This is in part due to the education I'm receiving from Office Dynamics. Isn't that awesome? This is really, it's just so cool to see how you are applying what you're learning and receiving the benefits of that application. And we congratulate this attendee on their success. That is really wonderful. So this is day 5 of our 12 Days of Christmas webinar series, and we are back today with the topic, Riding the Wave of Change. We do have a handout for today, and our webinar administrator will put that in the chat for you. So we have a handout for our webinar today, and we also will share with you the program for all the upcoming webinar topics so you can see what we have coming up through the rest of our 12 days event. Our webinar administrator will share those links with you. And just so that you know, we do have a certificate that we send out at the end of the day, so watch for that. And we also post all of our webinar follow-up on our blog. So if you're not receiving our email notices, watch the blog for updates at officedynamics.com/blog. All webinar follow-up is posted daily. And please stay tuned until the end of our 30-minute program for our special offer and giveaways for today. You don't want to miss those. We expect our webinar will be about 30 minutes. And with all of that, I think we're ready to hand the program over to Joan, our founder and CEO here at Office Dynamics. Hi there, Joan.
Yes, hi, woohoo, another day. We're so excited about doing these webinars, and as Jasmine said that about me reading the chat, it's true. I do. Every night I read the entire chat, everything, and I'm loving the comments. I'm loving the engagement and your positivity. I love you sharing with each other. I noticed when we had the Q&A webinar the other day, and we were talking about great books and resources, several of you shared your ideas, and I can't wait to get some of those books as well. And also from our Q&A day, there were numerous great thought-provoking questions, and I do want to address those through blogs and articles and Facebook Live in 2017. So I promise you, we will address those questions because you have some awesome ones that I'm sure many assistants want to know about. And really quickly, yes, this reindeer is very important and very special to me. She's been in my life for several years. There's a whole story that goes with it, but I'm not going to bore you with that. But we would love for you to help give her a name, and we'll just be excited to see what you come up with throughout the webinar. But for now, let's get focused and let's talk about change, because it's something we all deal with. This is one of my most favorite topics to speak on. I've been speaking on change since 1990, so 26, almost 27 years. I have been through numerous personal changes and professional changes. And what's interesting is change is a skill, or dealing with change is a skill we can develop, and not just deal with it, but you can actually learn to thrive on change and eventually get to a place where you become a catalyst for change. So that's the good news, as difficult as change seems. When I talk about change, I like to talk about different sizes of changes and different kinds of changes. So if we think about, there's major changes and there's minor changes, but it's going to be subjective, because what I might consider a major change, you might consider a minor change. For example, my husband and I moved numerous times. We lived in 8 states during our 34-year marriage and made 12 different dwellings. So to me, moving really wasn't a big deal. It was a lot of work, but it didn't really bother me. My sister, my older sister, who never left Cleveland, Ohio, and has only moved maybe, I think, to 3 different houses in her life, was always challenged when it was time to make a move. It was a really big deal for her. So that's what I mean. Change is subjective to each of us. And that's why when you hear someone else talk about change, and if they're struggling with it, to have empathy and be considerate and try to help them through it, because maybe while it's not a big deal to you, it's a big deal to them. So the strategies, there are 10 strategies I'm going to share with you today. These work. I guarantee they work. Now, one thing to keep in mind is sometimes one strategy will be enough, and other times, depending on what you're going through, you may need to use 2 or 3 or even 4 strategies. And these can be applied to your personal life or your professional life. That's what's so great. We're all going through change. So let's get ready. Are you ready? Number 1, anticipate what changes might be on the horizon. The key word is anticipate. Don't wait until change hits you upside the head all the time. And the way that you anticipate is to keep your eyes and ears open. Listen to what's being talked about in your office. And you also need to listen at home. You need to listen to your partner or your spouse, because maybe there's things they're not real happy with and you're not paying attention, and then all of a sudden, boom, it hits you upside the head. So you have to be a good listener, both at home and at work. And try to anticipate what that might mean. Many of you communicate on behalf of your executives, so make sure you're really, reading and paying attention to what you're communicating, and also pay attention to the information your executive receives. Also, by reading the newspaper, again, here I go back to my USA Today, it's the golden nugget, folks. But if you follow that, and especially the business section, you'll see what's going on in different industries. You'll see what's going on in our economy that could disrupt our work. in our business world, and then you can anticipate if maybe that's going to affect your organization, especially when there are mergers and acquisitions going on. This past year, 3 of our big clients went through mergers. That means change is coming, and it could affect certain things. But the good news is if you anticipate, then you could do my second strategy, which is to prepare as much as possible as you can. A really simple example on a work level is, let's say that you are aware that a new software program is going to be installed on in your servers and all your computers, and you're going to have to work with that new program. Well, you can wait until it shows up and try to be scurrying through it, or you can talk to someone in IT and try to learn a little bit about that program. You can, of course, Google it. You can get books on that, and you could read a little bit so that you're starting to prepare for the change that might be coming. Whenever Dave and I moved to different states, the first thing I did when I knew we were moving, because most often he was getting a job promotion, is I would call the Chamber of Commerce. I would get a mover's packet. I would find out who were the top employers, the top 50 employers in that city, so I could already start sending my resumes out ahead of time. I learned about the schools. I learned about the neighborhoods. So as soon as he started interviewing, I was anticipating that most likely he was going to get the job. So that's what I mean. Number 1, anticipate. Number 2, prepare as much as you can. Number 3 is to visualize yourself positively going through change. It's really important. So as you're going through a change, if you're visualizing that you're never going to get through, horrible, this is the worst thing that's going to happen in your life, it's going to really draw on you and drain you. And it's going to be harder for you to work through that change. So you have to believe that you can get through the change, that you will be successful in the change. You have to believe that you can develop the skills that you need to get through that change. So maybe you're going through some changes at work, maybe your role is changing, maybe you've been assigned new projects, new assignments. We're all going through change with technology. You know, when I was looking at the questions that came in the other day and some of the different changes that you are dealing with, it's all about change. So the idea is to visualize. And I love it. The Chinese have 2 symbols for change. One represents opportunity and one represents danger. And what happens often when we're going through change that we don't want, especially, we tend to focus on the danger, what's going to go wrong, what could go wrong, and we get all worked up. But the theory or the philosophy is to be aware of the dangers. Don't be so rosy colored that you're not aware, but put all your focus on the opportunity. What are the opportunities that can occur with that change? And I know one thing we talk about in my classes when we're covering change is the question of how can there be opportunity in illness, in disease, in divorce, you know, those types of things that we consider to be really bad changes. There are lessons to be learned. So if you look hard enough and you look close enough and you look for the lessons, that is the good news. There is always something to learn when you're going through a change. The next one is to accept change. So it's interesting. I don't know if you were on our webinar today. It was the accelerated assistant. And I was talking about the speed of change, the acceleration of everything in our lives. So if you, I hope you have access to that webinar. But anyways, we were talking about the velocity of change and all the things that are coming our way. So the sooner we can accept change, the sooner we can, you know, embrace it, the better it's going to be for us. And I'm not saying you have to like the change. You don't have to like it at all. In fact, you could be mad about the change and that it's happening to you. But after that, let it go and accept that it's happening. No matter what you do, it's going to happen, right? And try to accept it as soon as you can. And again, use some of the different strategies that I'm going to share with you today. And even when we're the one creating change, it can still be hard for us. I remember when I started Office Dynamics in 1990. I mean, I was the one who chose to end my administrative career after 20 years. I was the one who chose to venture out into an industry there was no real training industry for assistants in 1990. I'm the one who chose to go out there with no savings put aside to build a business, which is like the number one thing you never do. So even though I really wanted that change, it was still hard. It was still difficult. But I did visualize success. I did visualize that one day I'd just be so thrilled, in doing the work that I wanted to do, which is helping assistants. Number 5, I love this one, get support. I don't take all the credit, for going through my changes. I've had a lot of support. Now, I break support down into a couple different categories. So the first category is to get support from your friends and your family, the people, who are really close to you, people who will just, listen to you and support you. But there is a caution. Sometimes your best friend or best friends and your family are not all that excited about your change, and they may not be real supportive. So at that point, you have to tune that person out. Again, I go back to starting my business because that was one of the biggest changes I've made in my life, career-wise. And my husband, Dave, was not excited that I was venturing off on this business. I had no experience as a trainer or speaker. I knew what it was like to be an assistant. He didn't like the fact that I wasn't bringing home a regular paycheck and I wasn't getting benefits anymore. So what I basically had to do for about the first year was tune him out. Now that's very hard when you live in the same house with someone. But I knew that I could not let his fears and doubts and concerns become my fears and doubts. I just had to prove and show him that what I was doing, I was right. I knew it in my heart. It was the right thing to do, and that's where I was being guided. So when I say about getting support, you also have to be a little selective. Maybe you want to make a career move and you have someone in your family saying, no, do you really think you should do that? Why are you going to risk what you have? Or maybe you want to move into another part of your community, or you want to get a bigger house and people are saying, I don't think you should do that. You have to listen to your own heart, because deep down, what changes you want to make. Also within getting support, it's to even get support from people you don't know. And for me in 1990, it was Brian Tracy, and you can Google Brian Tracy. I love him. I love his work. He has inspired me all these years. He's phenomenal. And so that first year, I was constantly listening to audio tapes. We had the old cassette tapes then, but I would put that in my car every day and I would listen to Brian because he lifted me up and he helped with my thinking and how I was approaching things. So again, your second group of support are just people who are out there, who can inspire you and encourage you. And then another category for me is spiritual support. When I have gone through the most difficult times of my life, for me, I don't know what it is for you, but I have to go, to the higher being, to help me get through some of the tough, difficult times I've had, or to help me with some decisions that I make. Hang tough, number 6. This is another favorite of mine. And if we had time, I would do a visualization technique with you today, but I don't. I do this in a live class. We turn the lights off in the room. I have everyone sit still, and I'll walk you through quickly what the visualization is. But it's to picture yourself standing on the beach by the ocean. And imagine it's a beautiful, sunny, wonderful day. The sun is just glistening on the water. It's warm, it's wonderful. You're standing there all happy and confident. And it's just, life is wonderful. That's what it represents. And now, all of a sudden, the waves are starting to churn up. Clouds are starting to roll in. It's getting a little cold, it's getting windy, and the wind's getting stronger and stronger, and the waves are just thrashing over you. And you're having to hang on tight, and so you lock your arms really tight, and you dig your feet deep, deep down into the sand, and you hang in there, you hang tough. And this represents when a lot of changes are coming at you in all different directions in your life. And then all of a sudden, picture the waves are now going back out. The waves are subsiding. The clouds are disappearing. The sun is coming out. You're smiling. Life is great again. But you're a little beat up. You're a little worn out. But the idea is you are still standing through the waves of change. Woohoo! That is one of my favorite visualization techniques. And the great news is you could do that when you're at work. Yes, I even do that technique with my eyes open. So I could be at work, and work could be coming at me lightning fast with all kinds of changes, and maybe there's lots of stuff going on in my personal life that's driving me crazy, but I picture, that's what I picture in my mind. And I know, I trust and know it will pass. I mean, just think about it. You're all here today, and I know you've been through some tough stuff over the years and over your life, and you're still here. That's amazing. And just remember that. Number 7, the strategy is to go easy on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself when you can't adapt quickly to change, when you can't adjust to change, when you can't accept that change. It's fine. It's okay. Change is difficult. It's hard. And of course, now we're challenged more than ever because we're experiencing change every day. So pamper yourself, treat yourself once in a while. Maybe you just need to get away because there is a lot going on in your life. But don't be harsh. Number 8, this is another favorite of mine. It's to keep the best of the old in your life. I don't mean old people, but maybe it is old people. My dad's 91, and I can't imagine my life without him because he's incredible. But what it means is that if you're going, let's say you're going through changes at work, hopefully you don't have a lot of change going on in your personal life. You can try to keep that pretty steady. If you have a lot of changes going on in your personal life, then hopefully you can try to maintain some sanity at work and hold true to the things that are important to you as you go through change. What comforts you, what gives you security, who or what makes you feel confident. I was just thinking really quickly, and I don't at all mean this in a negative way, but I was just thinking about how when my husband Dave passed away, it'll be 6 years ago this January, I chose to not leave my home. And I know a lot of women who had become widows who chose to move from their homes, and that's great and that's fine for them. And they just wanted to change everything in their life. Well, for me, my home is my home, and I've always loved that home. Lots of happy memories. Now, I did change some things in my home. I wanted it to feel like it was just me now. You know, it wasn't Dave and me, it was Joan. And what I did do is I did some remodeling, I did some painting, I bought some pictures that I especially loved and had meaning for me as a woman. And so it's great because I have this wonderful home that gives me security, and I love so much, and where we have happy times with family and friends. And it's a combination of my old life with Dave, which was fabulous, and my new life, which is also fabulous. And I'm very, very grateful. Number 9 is to look at change as an opportunity to grow. If you develop the skill of thriving on change, I guarantee you will grow from it. So when you're going through that change, right, we all have to learn, and we have to develop new skills. And I know for me, I reach out to people that who I maybe wouldn't reach out to in ordinary times. So when I look back, who I am today is the result of all the changes I went through over all these years, personally, professionally, good changes, not so good changes, but they helped make who I am today. And I kind of like who I am today. I've learned some tough lessons. I know one thing, that I've been humbled by change. Many times when I've gone through a difficult change, it's brought me to my knees, and that's not a bad thing at all. So I hope that you can do the same thing and just see it as an opportunity for growth. And then number 10, this is one of my favorites as well. I probably said that about every one of these, but these are great strategies, and they're so powerful. And number 10 is to purposely change. We are creatures of habit. How many of you don't have to answer, but if you want to, fine. But I would bet many of you sleep on the same side of the bed every night, especially if you're, a married person. I bet you have one side and your spouse has another side. I bet many of you have your routine in the morning, and how you get ready for work. Many of us tend to put our pants on with the right leg first. Did you ever think about that when you put on your pants? Do you always tend to go with your right leg or your left leg? Creatures of habit. Maybe you have a specific place you always keep your toothbrush. I mean, just all these little things that we're creatures of habit, right? And what I'm saying is purposely change. Today when you go home, why don't you take a different route? Tomorrow when you go to work, take a different route, or stop and get yourself a Starbucks before you go into work. Mix it up, mix up your routine, mix up your life. Tonight at dinner, I want to highly encourage you, if you have more than 2 of you at your dinner table, change your seats. I know a lot of times when you have a family, you all have your seat you sit in. Mix it up tonight. You know what everybody's going to say? What's with you? Well, what do you mean? That's my chair. I always sit there. And they're going to be very surprised. The other piece that I want to encourage you with quickly, I know we're getting to the end of our webinar here, is if you have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, if you come in contact with any children who are in your life, create changes with them. In other words, have them change their bedroom around. Every 6 months, get them to change their room around maybe. If you have your Saturday routine with your kids, and maybe you say to them, well, we're gonna go here, 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 and here. On Saturday, mix it up. Put it all out of order. This is what I used to do with my kids. We change places at the dinner table. The reason being, when these children come into the workplace in the future, into the world, change is going to be, I don't even know how fast. We're going to be supersonic, by that time. So if if you can teach them that change is just a part of life, and in fact, it can be fun to change and mix things up, it's going to be easier on them when they are older. And we should have and take that responsibility of preparing the next generation. So those are my 10 strategies on change. I know we have a couple more awesome things to wrap up with, and so I'm going to turn it over to Jasmine.
Thank you, Joan. Wow, have you seen this chat? It is incredible.
I can't wait to see it tonight.
Just such a fun time with everyone talking about, one, adding their information about change, and those comments were really fantastic. And then I lost count on how many submissions we've had for your fun reindeer. Naming the reindeer, our little reindeer game. That's going to be a really tough choice because there's been a lot of stuff there, but it is that time. And of course, in every webinar, we do have a special offer for you, and today is no different. As you know, Joan and I are going on a cruise in March, and we are still filling up that cruise. We have a few seats left, and we are wanting to let you know about that. It's called Learning at Sea, and it is March 20th through the 24th. And you can register for that event today by putting down a deposit. The deposit's $500. I believe our lowest price on a cabin. It includes your cabin and everything else. And you can learn more about that on our website. Our webinar administrator will put that link in the chat for you there. But just so that you know, you can register with a deposit for that. I'll put that up so that you can link to that as well in our chat. So we have that offer going for you. It does need to be paid in full by the 20th of December. So just please be sure to note that. And if cruising isn't for you, we know this is a very special learning event. Not everyone's going to be able to go on the cruise. It is more of a high dollar ticket item for people, and they may not have that in their training budget. So we do want to see you in 2017, and I am leaking an announcement that will come later on in this series, but we're also going to be in the Windy City, kicking off Administrative Professionals Week on April 24th. We are partnering with Shure, and they're giving us some space to host an event, and the tickets are definitely priced to sell out in that arena. So this is in the Chicago area. Joan and I will be traveling together to do this program, and we're delivering a program titled Building a Star Partnership. So if you're looking to see Joan and I live and in person next year, that's another option. And our webinar administrator, Brian, will be putting a link up to that page so that you can get more information about that program, and also the registration page for those of you who know that that is something for you. And we do have our giveaway. It is that time. The jingle bells are ringing.
Yeah. Jingle bells.
Day 5. We have 5 giveaways today. Who will win? We have 5 giveaways, and we are giving away Creating Transformative Partnerships with Your Leader. This is an audio MP3 download, so the 5 winners will receive this program today, and they'll be able to start listening right away. So let's see here. Our first winner is Donna. Donna, in your email address starts with DSWINEY, so we'll be in touch with you, Donna. Let's see here. Close that, and we are searching for our next winner, which is Kimberly. Kimberly with an L-E-Y, and I believe your last name is Coward, C-O-W-A-R-D. So you are our second winner, and congratulations. Yay. I know, I feel like the bell should be ringing. Deborah, you're winner number 3. Your email address is SWANDEB, and you are our 3rd winner. Help me keep track here, Joan. Our 4th winner is Lucy Feliciano. Lucy at Daycare. Okay, and let's see here. We have one more winner to go, yes?
Yes.
Jennifer Pratt, Jennifer.Pratt. So, okay, that is our 5 winners. You're all receiving Creating Transformative Partnerships with Your Leader. And then just so recap, we have the Learning at Sea still available, few seats left, and we also have seats opening up in Chicago. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And before we close out, Joan, anything else you'd like to share?
Yes, I always have something. I noticed in the chat box, someone was asking if we have an agenda for Learning at Sea. We have a comprehensive, amazing agenda. So if you go, follow the link or go to our website, officedynamics.com, you'll see there's a big banner for Learning at Sea. It's a full agenda. We will have, what did I count? 16 hours of training over 3 full days. So people might think that this is fluffy stuff. Oh, sure, you're going on a seminar cruise. You're just going to go have fun. It's just an excuse. No, not with me. We're going to work on that cruise. Like I said, 16 hours of learning over 3 days, but we are allowing time in the agenda, sometimes in the afternoons for you to have some free time to enjoy yourself. But we will work you hard. And we also envision walking on the decks at night with those who are going to be with us. We're excited about being able to sit on the deck with each other, talk about administrative challenges and issues and problems, and brainstorm and come up with great ideas. So it's a combination of, yes, being able to relax and enjoy yourself, and also learn and talk about change. I don't know, probably many of you don't know why we're doing this, is because our theme this year for our conference was the revolutionary assistant, and we want to demonstrate being revolutionary in your profession. And then the only other comment, April, I think the date's April 24th, we're in Chicago. It is a Monday, and yes, we're excited to kick off Administrative Professionals Week, so that might be a better option for some of you. So just lots of great stuff, and I want to thank you all very much for taking time out of your schedules today. And I guess I better be quiet, because I'll just keep talking to all of you, because I love seeing you all in the chat and communicating with you. But thank you very, very much.
Thank you. And we will be back again tomorrow for day 6 of our 12 days, and we will be talking about living your big life in 2017.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.